Welcome to the shop. In this video I will be showing how to make accurate bolt-hole circles, and it's surprisingly easy. Almost every DRO has this function, whether it is graphical or not. Next we'll go ahead and zero out our X and Y axes and then set compensation for the diameter of the center finder. The diameter of our center finder is 0.2 inches, so we will have to compensate for 0.1 inch in the correct direction. We will go to the calculator and enter 0.1. We'll make that negative because the center of our center finder is negative 0.1 inch from the edge of the part. That is, the center of the spindle is negative 0.1 inch in the X direction from the edge of the workpiece. To transfer this reading to the X axis, we press the unmarked button that is right next to the X0. The value is already set, so all you have to do is to press clear and get out of this screen. The spot drill is at the X0, Y0 position, which is the top back corner of my part. Next we'll go ahead and select the Volatile Circle program, and it's going to be in a different location depending on the DRO. Sometimes you just have to use the right and left arrows until you find it, and then press the button underneath it and select. The bolt-hole function has got several steps that you have to go through. The first one is just a drawing number. You can have up to 4 drawings. The second is a drawing name if you want to give it. The third is the plane that you'll be working on, which is XY. Since we're just drilling vertically down with the mill, and the X center and Y center of the hole. In our case, it is going to be 0 and 0. I'm going to choose the diameter of the bolt-hole circle, and I'm going to change that to 1 inch. And then the next is mode 360 degree equal. It means that it'll create those holes equally spaced across 360 degrees. Other options, I don't need to do that. Back to bolt-hole circle. So the previous entries didn't get erased, they're still there. For the sake of demonstration, I've selected 5 holes. I'm going to go back to 4 holes. The mode right now is 360 degrees equal, starting at 0 and going and putting down those 5 holes. By pressing on this wrench icon here, you can choose equal angle and it'll separate them out by equal angles. Next option is random angle, and the angles are not random. It just means that you start and end at a designated angle, not random angle. Here I have selected start angle at 0 and it goes anti-clockwise, and the ending angle is 270 degrees. Very oddly phrased, I should say. The next option is starting angle, which I had chosen as 0, ending angle 270 degrees. But if you have chosen mode 360, the ending angle doesn't matter because it is going to go 360 degrees around in a circle and end up back to where it started. Number of holes here does matter. So we've got 5 holes equally spaced. I'm going to choose 4. And now the 4 holes have been equally spaced. Next, let's try 3. And now 3 holes have been equally spaced out. For some reason, I think you have to move away from this, from the field that you're working on for it to accept it. So back to 4, move down from it, and there are 4 holes equally spaced out. So this screen shows a graph. The numbers are very odd. It's like negative 0.415. The holes are basically plus 0.5, minus 0.5, plus 0.5, minus 0.5. Then finally pressing enter gets you into the hole drilling mode. The machine knows that right now we are at X negative 5 from where we want to be and Y 0. So because remember we started at X0, Y0, the first hole is going to be 0.5 inch, or rather 0.5 inches in the plus X direction, and our cutter is negative 0.5 inches from where we want to be. Okay, so now we are 1 inch in from the end and 1 inch in from the back wall. Now we're going to spot drill and we're going to move the cutter to the correct position, and as I move the cutter in the X direction, the X reading keeps decreasing until we'll be right over the hole. We'll click right arrow for the next hole. Remember, the numbers that show up on the DRO is basically distance to go. What this means is that the spindle is too far to the right on X and we have to keep decreasing X, so going negative X, and we are too far in the negative Y direction, so we have to increase Y until we get to Y0. right arrow for the next hole, and we keep turning the wheels until we get to 0, 0. And you can follow it visually as well, which is a really nice feature of this DRO. Okay, so our 4 spot drills have been done. Next we're going to do a 1/8 inch drill. But before I do that, I'm going to do the next bolt hole circle. So we're done with this, so clear and clear to get out of that screen. So I'm in incremental mode X and Y 0. Now I'm going to STM and I'm going to zero everything out. And in STM1, I'm going to move over by 1.5 inches. So that is going to be X0 on STM0 and Y0 will be Y0. Okay, so back to doing the bolt hole circle. So press the bolt hole circle, drawing number 1, X, Y, X center, Y center are both zeros, diameter is 1 inch. We wanted to, let's say, make an identical bolt hole circle. Well, let's say we want to make this a little bit smaller. Let's say we want to make this 0.8 inches in diameter. So let's make that 0.8 and then 360-degree equal. And now we will press enter and we go into the mode. And here you can see that now we have to move 0.4 inches in the X direction. So once again, we'll go ahead and move 0.4 inches in the X direction. Press right arrow. Okay, we're done with making the initial spot drills, and next we will do the actual 1/8 inch drill. Put some cutting oil on there, and we're in the absolute mode on our DRO. The first bolt hole circle had been drilled with the incremental mode. So we'll go down to incremental, and in incremental we don't actually have to go to X0, Y0. All we have to do is to select a bolt hole circle, and here it comes, drawing number 1. And let's go ahead and enter, and that allows us to choose our first first hole. So let's go to, let's move as much as it says and go to X and Y 0. And on the machine, we are at X and Y 0 near enough, but in real life we are not. We are actually off the hole by a little bit. So here we are at X0, Y0 essentially on the DRO, but we are off our hole. And the answer is actually that we had changed the diameter of our holes to a 0.8 inch diameter, which is the set of holes on the right, and the drawing is still set to that 0.8 inch. So we're going to have to make some changes, and that's very easy. And as you'll recall, the previous bolt hole circle was based on a 0.8 inch diameter. So all we have to do is to go back to our drawing number 1, come down to the diameter and change that to 1 inch, move away from it, and that's selected. And there we are. Now we can see that the desired position is further to the right of where we are. And so we'll move over to the new 0, 0, and that should align nicely. First hole done. Next we'll do the smaller diameter bolt hole circle. We're currently in the incremental mode, so we'll switch down to STM0, going down on this arrow. And once again select the bolt hole circle, drawing number 1. And once again the diameter should be changed to 0.8. 0.8. And then press enter, and now we've got the new holes visible. And again, I did not have to enter anything new as to where the 0, 0 was, because I had zeroed it out in STM1, and the bolt hole function is referencing off the currently selected subdatum or incremental mode or absolute mode. Next I'm going to put in a second plate that I had previously cleaned up, and I'm going to line it up with the vice stop. I'm not going to re-zero anything at all, and I'm just going to go with the coordinates that we have already saved in the DRO. So now we have the second plate in place. We will go ahead and zero it out. We're in the incremental mode right now, and that was the mode we had used for drilling the first bolt hole circle. So select the bolt hole circle program, come down to diameter, change that to 1 inch because that's the first bolt hole circle, and enter, and we're ready to drill. So here's the result of the first set of holes I had drilled. This is 1 inch bolt hole diameter, and this one is a 0.8 inch. And here's the second one that had been drilled. And let's see how they match up. Let me see if I can figure out how to show you guys. Okay, I've turned off the room lights, and here we can see with illumination from the back, diffuse illumination, that the holes line up quite well. I'm going to flip it around to the other side. And really, it's very hard to get every single hole perfectly dead on in the camera, but they line up very well. I went ahead and put an 1/8 inch reamer through the holes just to make sure that we have accurate sizes. And here's my dowel pins. Now for the moment of truth. Yes, lines up nicely. Let's try a third one in there too. Yep. I feel a very minimal rock. Very minimal, because these are 124 pins and the reamer was 125. I've got a fourth one too. Okay, that goes in as well. And now with all four, there is no rock, no movement at all. Thanks for watching, and please be sure to like and subscribe. Very good.